And we are live, and I'm so happy to be here with Jennifer Potter.
Hello.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thanks for having me.
And we wish you the best in San Francisco with the fires and so forth. Hope you're hanging in there. Let me introduce Jennifer to all of you, one of my artists. Jennifer M. Potter is an illustrator with a passion for visual storytelling. That's the truth. And cinematic perspective, and we're going to talk about that. She's illustrated picture books for Running Press, Little Bigfoot, Henry Holt books for young readers, and contributed to the Rebel Girls series, which is a really fabulous feminist series for girls. Her work has appeared in the Washington Post, the Star Tribune, Bravery magazine. Her most recent book, Claude, The True Story of a White Alligator by Emma Bland Smith, received a starred review from Kirkus, which is as good as it gets. She lives in San Francisco, as I said, with her husband, several attention-starved plants, and a concerning lack of dogs. Welcome. That's really good. And your humor comes through in your work, which is so fantastic. Oh, we have so many people already popping up. So good to see everybody. Type in where you are. We loved in the chat. Open the chat below if you're new to this. And I want to tell you that as always, we're having a giveaway. Do you want to hold up? Do you have the book to hold up?
Yeah.
Oh, good. A giveaway at the end. Yes, that beautiful Claude book. Beautiful Claude book.
We'll see some inside spreads from it too.
Yes. And we'll have the PDF to look for. And I will say with the giveaway, Jennifer came up with an idea, and it's a more challenging one this time.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I think it's really fun. And I think you'll all enjoy it. So that's really pretty wonderful. And then our next webinar is September 17th. We're going to skip a few weeks because we're going to have a retreat here, virtual this year for the first time. Art directors, if you're watching, contact us if you would like to participate in speed dating, where our artists show you their latest work on Zoom, and we're doing it all that way. It's going to be awesome. So the next webinar, September 17th, Thursday at 12:30 Eastern time, just like this. And that is with Marenta, my artist Marenta, who's Dutch. Amber Scott says, I have the Claude book on pre-order. Wonderful.
That's
I love
exciting.
seeing you from all over the world. So I have a whole bunch of questions for you before we get to your portfolio, but how did you transition from a full-time career, and tell us what that career was, to a full-time illustrator working out of your home?
I always tell people I did it the exact wrong way. I was a creative director in the tech industry, and the company I was working with got bought out, which I got a little bit of money from that. Not a lot. I mean, not like life-changing, but enough to reset.
Oh,
and
nice word.
Yeah, so I was just kind of tired of doing, like, I felt like I'd run the gamut of what I could do for my career. I'd done branding for a major company, and redesigned their logo, their marketing, all of their stuff, their color palette, their font, like everything. And it was exciting when I was doing it, but after that I was like, well, am I going to do that again for another company? And I guess I could have, but I don't know, I wanted to do something different. So I took some time and just started drawing every day, and that was exciting for me. And then very randomly, a friend of mine joined GTS. And I was like,
Global Talent Search.
Yeah.
That I do with my e-course company.
Yeah, so that's how I learned about Make Art That Sells. And then I got an ad, I think, for the free Matt's prep for ICB3. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. And I did it, and I did like every single one, and I had like 5 terrible drawings, but I had 5 drawings at the end of it. And because I was still discovering myself at that point. And I was like, I got so much out of this. I'm just gonna take this course. And I took it, and like the rest is history.
She took it, and then I I I was like, wow. And I'm always looking for talent. Every agent is, not all, not always, but if somebody great pops up in front of us, we take notice. And that's what happened. And her work is different from a lot of our other artists in that it's much more cinematic. We'll be taking a look at that shortly too. Um, let's see. So, so your work is very cinematic. Is that a word people use to describe it, or is that just what we do?
I've heard that and I use it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I think about one thing that I think about a lot when I'm doing a layout that I don't think a lot of people think about is where is the camera in the shot? Like, what do I want the viewer to see? And because of that, it naturally feels cinematic to me. I try and like think of the whole
Where is
space
the
of
camera?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I have not heard that before. Where is the camera? That's right. It's not like somebody's just going to look at the picture, but where is the camera? And so you think, because a lot of your shots are, as we said, cinematic. They're overhead. They're wide angle. Like you did the corner of a building, and it almost looked like wide angle distortion, like in a good way, though, right?
Yep, I do that. I do that. Well, not a lot, but I definitely do that from time to time.
Yeah.
I've got that in my book that I'm hopefully it makes the cut, but in my roughs for my next book, it's in there too.
Next book.
Yeah.
You studied some animation and comics and storyboarding.
Yeah,
Right?
I
At
studied
SCAD.
video
Video.
and sequential arts is what they called it. And sequential arts is basically comic book illustration and storyboarding. And the storyboarding supports the video, but I ended up just really loving it. So I was like, oh, maybe I should be drawing instead of doing video.
So you didn't study illustration?
Mm-mm.
No, you studied that other, which is great, and that worked for you. So here's what I want to know. What was your favorite illustration project so far? If you can, of the ones you can talk about.
I like a lot of different ones for different reasons. I loved working on Claude. I loved working on Voices of Justice, which is out in October. I really liked working on the Hong Kong job because I like saying, oh, the Hong Kong job.
Right. That is very cool. Do you want to tell us what the Hong Kong job was?
Yeah, so I got contacted from an agency in Hong Kong that found my art and wanted me to design characters for a mall in Hong Kong. Like they were life-size characters. Some of you have seen it on Instagram if you've looked. And in addition to the characters, which you'll see in my PDF that I did for Lilla, there's also full like floor or like wall wraps of characters all around the wall. And it is just crazy. It was, like, I had so much going on at that time, but I couldn't not take it.
Yeah, it was great. And what would your dream job be? What would you like to manifest?
I feel like I'm sort of like checking those boxes a lot now. I would love to do a mural at some point, I think, just because I think that would be interesting. But author illustrator is probably my dream. I keep slowly working towards that, but then I keep getting busy and then falling off the wagon, I guess. But
yeah, you're very busy with work. You get a lot of work, which is so terrific. Leah Quinn has a question, by the way. Put all your questions in the question box. That's where we can see them. Hopefully we'll try to answer them all. She asks, how do you approach your gig work projects now? Similar to any maths assignment per se? What's different for you now?
I think the thing that's different is scale. It's pretty similar, though. I think when I get especially if I'm working on a book, I'll get the manuscript and maybe the manuscript will have the page break up, maybe it won't. So I'm doing roughs, and instead of just doing roughs for a single, page for a week, I'm doing all of the roughs at once and turn them all in at once. And then, yeah. So it's just scale, I think.
So scale really means quantity, like there's just a lot more. Yeah. Over a longer period of time, too.
Oh, thank goodness. I couldn't keep the mat space up.
Yeah. it's funny, somebody mentioned, why don't you make the illustrating children's book class longer, which I'm doing now.
Oh.
And I think people can only give intensity for 5 weeks. I just don't think people could sustain it longer.
Yeah.
And when you have a job with a lot of work, like a book, you do have some spaces in there over the many months when you're waiting to get the roughs back with the comments and so forth. Yes, it is intense. Yes, yes. Okay. Nita Sawe says, have you referred to architectural books because you have that feel in your illustrations? I love that we can see your library.
I know. I'm like, where is my book? Okay, here's a good one. I think maybe we'll do this one. This book is excellent.
How to Render.
How to Render by Scott Robertson. And I have How to Draw too. And it's not architectural per se, but look at that. It's teaching you how to light architecture. Basically, it's teaching you how to light different planes and shapes. It's crazy informative. I reference this a lot because sometimes if you're not drawing from life, you have to be like, how does this shadow fall again? And you can find out.
Courtney McClure loves book recommendations. Thank you, she says. Yes, that was gold. That was gold. So you do use books. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of references.
Yeah, as we see. Yeah, how many of you watching are like bookaholics? Yeah, raise your hand, or you can actually, you can raise your hand. Look at that. Raise your hand in the, like down there, there's a little button or something for raise your hand. 22 participants, 27, 28, 9, 30, 32, 33. Can you guys see the counter? I can see the counter. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Books are just, I think, of course, we're visual, where we love books. We love visual books, obviously. Okay, Raquel Russo says, you said you want to try being an author. I'm not sure I understand this. Raquel, can you explain that and write another question and explain what you mean? Because she is I'm sorry. You said you want to try being an author illustrator. How much have you experimented? Any tips? Love your work.
I've experimented a lot. I don't know. I guess I've been writing as long as I've been drawing, but I don't see words the way I see pictures, which is a weird thing to say because obviously, but words are more opaque to me. I think in pictures more, I guess. So I guess all that is to say, I'm not as confident in it. So I do it a lot in my downtime, but I haven't really pursued it actively. Yeah.
Well, you have to take my write a picture book pitch course.
Right.
I had 6 of my artists do it, and they came out with amazing stuff.
I've already talked to some of them about it.
Really?
I have. Yeah.
What did they say?
They hands down are very proud of what they've created out of it.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's great. And we're actually we got their finals for most of them. Those of you watching who didn't send us your finals yet, get them to us. And we're going to be pitching them. We're crafting a beautiful little pitch to our favorite art director.
They also said it was hard.
It's hard. It's supposed to be over like 4 or 5 weeks, and they did it in a week, but it's great. And that starts in October. For those of you, go to makeartthatsells.com. It's my kid book pitch. Yeah. I was trying to, what's the name again? Okay, because I'm writing a new course, which I can't discuss. And so I'm like totally confused about everything. Brenda Harris says, your beautiful work is perfect to see this week, since we are working on scenes and spreads for illustrating children's book this week. What advice do you have for current students, especially those that might be overwhelmed, asking for a friend?
Oh my goodness.
What advice do you have about working on scenes and spreads? Well, the first thing you said was think of the camera
Yeah, yeah.
angle. Love
I, th-
that.
I think that in the class, it's very, very intense, and it's easy to get a little defeated if you pay attention to what other people do. And I found that in my first class. I was like, oh, all these people are doing amazing flat art. I should be doing flat art. And I tried it and I was like, this is not for me. But
Wait, what do you mean by flat art?
oh, like just not rendered, just like
Not 3D.
very
Yeah,
flat,
yeah,
like very
rendered.
like gouache or something.
Right.
And it's beautiful. And those people are doing it really beautifully. So I'm thinking, oh, well, that's how you make beautiful art, is by using the technique they're using. But that's not going to help you bring your own unique voice to the table. So as I know a lot of you are still discovering yourselves, I'm still discovering myself, but find out the thing that makes you unique and double down on that. Like really learn to do it better. Learn to execute what you're trying to execute better, and don't worry about the other people. And that's going to serve you well.
I love that. I love that. That's, yeah, just double down and just like ignore everything if you can. Can we ever? But I love that advice. Okay, Courtney McClure, how important is your personal work these days? Do you have time for it?
Not really. Right now, my downtime is spent doing, I joined this thing with the illustrator for our chapter of SCBWI, which is the Society of Children's Books Writers and Illustrators, coordinated a thing with a bunch of published and listed authors or artists to draw pictures to give to different bookstores so they can help use these little pieces of original art to drum up business. Maybe they'll hide it in a book, or maybe they'll just say, come in and you can buy this. They get to use it however they want. Basically, we're making free art to help push people to local bookstores. So that's what my free time is. So I'm kind of exploring personal art there because it's self-directed, but it's still like, you know, I've got a commitment I have to keep.
And it's for a client, so to speak, or for a purpose.
Yeah.
It's volunteer work for nonprofit, if I understand right.
Yeah. Well, it's not nonprofit. It's just volunteer.
It's just
work
like people. Yeah. So
it's
not like you're just sitting down and drawing whatever comes to your mind. But I think because maybe you did so much personal work before, it helped you evolve and get to your style. And then from classes, you evolved your style. So I think when you're at your level, and like most of my artists, maybe all, they don't have to do personal work every day. They don't have to. Now, so you see, as I'm speaking, I'm like clarifying everything, and I'm adjusting because, of course, I can't speak for all my artists or anybody. But I think for many people, and I know when I was a full-time illustrator, I didn't do personal work that often, but when I did, it was really special and really informed my work and got me to the next level. So that's probably the same with you too, but you're probably always thinking. Okay, Ekta Chalar has a really interesting question. How much has the COVID affected your work?
I am very fortunate in that my life did not change too much. I, live in this apartment with my husband, and we both work from home because he's freelance too. So my day-to-day life did not change. I think just in general, though, these are weird times, and sometimes it gets to me, and I feel, very roller coastery right now. So I think, I don't know, I've done some art that's very COVID inspired, and then this Kidlit Arts Prize, that's the hashtag for the thing I'm doing for the bookstores. That's obviously directly related to COVID. So I'm finding that it influences my personal work. And it influences my mindset, I suppose, but it hasn't changed my day-to-day too much, apart from wearing a mask everywhere and not leaving the house ever.
Except for everything else in my whole life, my career is exactly identical. My work, I've been working from home or if I've rented a studio outside, but I don't know, since 1984. So that hasn't changed, but everything else has
Mhm.
that we all experience. So it is a good career for people to work from home and to be able to, and everything we've been doing is the same. We're going to look at your work in a second, but Rocio Mariposa asks, can you describe your daily routine? Thanks.
Um,
That's what I would always ask too before I was an illustrator. Like, what's your day like? No, seriously, like, do you get up and have a cup of coffee or do
I wake
you?
up and play Animal Crossing.
I do words with friends or wordscape.
I like to ease into the day. I don't drink coffee. I kind of wish I did. My husband does, and we have a nice espresso cappuccino maker. It's
Wow.
completely
How about
lost on
decaf?
me though. No,
The what?
it's completely lost on me. I just don't like the flavor. So
Mm.
I'm not the best morning person. So I ease into the day, and then if there's time, usually I'll do admin stuff,
Oh.
social media, or get back to emails, that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
before lunch. And then after lunch is my dedicated drawing time. And because I don't have kids or anything, sometimes my dedicated drawing time runs until midnight.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to make time for myself. It really depends on when the deadlines are, because
Mm-hmm.
they stack up sometimes. That's just the nature of freelance.
And if you get your artwork done, if it flows and you're done in an hour or two or whatever, you can be free for the rest of the day,
Mhm.
unless you want to work on your next thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of emails? Do you get a lot of emails? Not too bad?
No, not too bad.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, well, that's why I have you.
I know we get all the emails. I know. And
It takes
we're
me
happy
like
to
an hour and a half, 2 hours to compose a single client email. I'm like, you know what? This is why I have an agent. I just overthink things
But
way
when
too
you write to us, your emails, you're always, Jennifer, you're so warm, you're so gracious, so appreciative. And that means so much to us. I'm speaking personally
well.
now, but
I'm very
well,
appreciative for you and your entire team. Everybody is so lovely.
thank you. Well, I feel like too, the illustration community, and I've talked about this before, when I first moved to New York from San Francisco, and I don't know how I met these illustrators, but I met them. They had been maybe in the business a few more years. I was brand new. They would say, oh, you've got to go call this client. She buys a lot of cool illustration. And they would like just tell me clients and
Mhm.
what to do and who to call. And it was so generous.
Mhm.
It's still that way, isn't it? I mean, the people are so nice.
I think it. I suspect it depends on who your community is. I find that, but I think I'm attracted to a community that is like that. When I
Right.
was a creative director, when I managed a team, I try to do the same thing. Like if I lift other people up around me, I'm going to go up with them. I feel that way. It's in my experience, it's always been true. So anytime I can help a friend, I know they're going to help me. And
Wow.
yeah.
Well, it just feels better too. I mean, what's
Mhm.
the world you want to live in with a bunch of like pissed off people or people who
Right.
are,
Yeah.
fueling you?
Mhm.
Okay. What do you want? More questions or look at the portfolio, the PDF? Your call. Jennifer.
Oh, me. Oh, I thought you were
No,
asking me.
sorry. No.
Because I can't see the chat. So,
I know, I should have said that better.
and, we could do either. We could always jump into the PDF, and if there are more questions,
Yeah. Well, we do have
take them later.
we have a bunch already. Okay, let's look at the PDF. So let us share the screen.
I'm just going to sit here for like 30 minutes going like, why aren't they answering?
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so here we have this. I'm going to pop the poll up too. Do you guys like the poll? I'm going to pop that up. And I don't know why it makes chat go away when you share screen and then you have to go open up the chat again. So I'm opening the chat because I keep my eye on those wonderful comments. You're also great. Somebody already, Kay. Oh, Kay, you said you're going to be in the my kid book pitch class. Yay, that makes me really happy. Okay, so thank you for answering the poll. It's just really for fun. One of these days we'll make some really interesting question in that poll. Maybe you have ideas, Jennifer, because you have such great ideas. I just want to say that Jennifer was the person that came up with the idea when the pandemic happened. Didn't we do a Facebook Live for the artists in the agency? Maybe is that how you came up with the idea, or
Yeah, we
maybe
did.
yeah,
Or
and
yeah, it was like a private one. Yeah,
a private one,
yeah.
and you came up with the idea of the Artivities book, where we could where all the artists would make some sort of activity beautifully, and then we compile it in a book. And Kim, will you type in or tell us where people can find that Artivities book? Somewhere on the website or something? Kim is in the background. I don't hear you if you're talking. Oh, yes, on the website under the PDF section. Oh, good. Okay, that's where it is now. Don't go running off now. Stay with us because we're going to look at this beautiful PDF. Okay, this is fantastic. Done for Instagram. Tell us about it.
I did this for Lilla's artist retreat. You asked us for banners, and this is the one that I did, and it's still one of my favorite pieces.
Beautiful.
As a primarily digital artist, I'm always trying to show the artist's hand, which is something that one of the publishers, art directors at your retreat a previous year had talked about. So I'm always thinking about that. It was the person who came from Compendium. And this to me was one of those spaces where it's digital, but it still shows the artist's hand. And I made a lot of
you mean texture?
The texture, but also I chose to render some things and I chose not to render some things. And I think it feels intentional, but it fits together really nicely.
People say, and yes, your shadows and lighting are incredible. That's by Bloom Bauer. And
thank you.
Great. Bloom also says, great idea for the sticker on the suitcase. Yeah, that was so great.
Also has a dog.
Kathy Rupp says, Jennifer, the girl looks like you. It does. It's like, well,
That
it
was
is you.
a little intentional, yeah.
Yeah. It's you going to the retreat. That's pretty wonderful. Someone said Riley. Hi, Riley. Said, great example of your where's the camera.
Oh yeah, it's right there with
lower. It's lower down, looking up at her. It's in the street. Like you really, that's what I love about your work. It's just really thoughtful. And the people going by, and look how the people going by are pale and muted. So we get the sense, you feel the noise, you hear the noise, you feel the motion of them, but it does not take away from the central theme, which is packing up, going to, the bus stop. Yeah, going to the retreat. How great. Of course you flew, but well, maybe you took a
bus.
Just
take a bus to the airport.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't have to be factual. It's just vibe of it. So that's great. Okay, next.
Oh,
Oh no, I didn't skip a page. This is gorgeous. Talk about control of color. The whole book is very sort of soft white, soft pale greens, and the greens of the lizards, and then the whitish green of Claude.
Well, that came about because I was starting to look at my portfolio as a whole, and because I love light and shadow, at that point, a lot of my portfolio was very dark. So this was something I did as a personal choice, especially because he's white, but also still has to fit in his environment. If I made everything really dark, he would pop, and that's fine. That could work really well for some stories, and it could probably work well for this one, but I wanted something that felt more natural, and yeah, I guess part of it's just experimentation.
It is really interesting because you're right. All your work is so bold and rich, saturated. And when I first saw this, I was like, yeah, it was, but it makes perfect sense. And it's a softer story. The tone is softer. It's got a poignancy. It's very beautiful. Yeah, it's great. Okay, let's look at camera angle. So the top one is the normal camera, normal, like so people tend to be at, like, their eyes are around 5 feet, right? The middle of your head. So let's say 5 feet. And if we're looking at the ground, we're looking down. So the top one is sort of more normal. The middle one is pulled back, wide angle, but the bottom one is what you do so well. Not that the others are beautiful too, but I'm just talking about camera angle. So this one, we are way up, looking way down, almost directly overhead. And it's like, I can't imagine a better angle to show this shot of Claude in the zoo. And you can see the people. You can see the people taking care of Claude.
Well, this is partly problem solving as well, because the text in this scene mentions that the staff of the museum had all gathered around to see the when Claude and Bonnie were brought into the museum for the first time. And they were on balconies like this because they were, they're not going to be all crowding around the alligators. That's dangerous. They just have the actual handlers down with them. Everybody else was safe on the balcony. So I needed to show the people on the balcony, and I needed to show Claude being examined. And it was originally something that I showed in 2 different pages, but then I realized if I did it at an angle, either very high or very low, could have worked too. I could do it all in one bold spread. And something about the color, which you don't see here, I remembered. Another thing is these first 2 pages are early in the book, and you'll see with the last page, there's a bit more color. I have color very subtly following the story. So at the climax of the story, at the darkest time for Claude, the colors are darker, and then by the end of the story, there's more color, and it's brighter. It's not like significant, still that soft pastel, but that speaks to, I think it was it Leah who asked the question about how my work has changed. Like, I can make these choices over a whole book in terms of how the palette changes with the story.
I noticed that the gutter, the middle of the spread where the middle of the book would be, is thoughtfully planned. There's nothing.
I have guides.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. Okay, let's look at the next page. James Baldwin, incredible. Tell us about this.
So this book is amazing. The author, Georgella Lyon, is a former poet laureate of Kentucky. She's incredible. She's just a wonderful writer. And this book came to me, and I saw that James Baldwin was on the list. And at the time, I had seen I Am Not Your Negro pretty recently in the theaters, and Get Out and stuff. This was maybe the beginning of the Black Lives Matter movement, or around a while, like a few years ago. And I was really trying to, educate myself. And I learned a lot more about James Baldwin in that time. So when I saw him there, I was like, oh, I have to do this book. So I think he might have been my first portrait that I did for it, just because he's so striking and moving, and just what an amazing person.
People are saying those eyes. Wow, I love James Baldwin. This is beautiful. The light, the shirt. My Lord, what can't she do? Wow, Jennifer, striking. Such an amazing portrait. Yeah. It's, to capture emotion, to get a sense of this man and the pain, the sadness, the strength all at once in his face. You did it.
The poem is, she really honors how, I don't know if defiant's the right word, but he would not back down. He is like, this is this is me, this is my experience, and you need to like wake up to it. And so I really wanted to capture that, the mood of the poem.
Somebody, Laura Friedland writes, stunning and soulful. Will everyone type in the emotional? What do you get? What are you seeing in him? What words come to you? What feelings? What mood? What emotion? I'd love to see. Just type in the chat what Raquel Russo says. It makes my heart squeeze. Kathy, powerful. Strength and calm, intelligence, strength, confidence, hope, calm, strength, profound wisdom. Strength, calm, had enough, no more excuses. This is my story. Listen to me, commanding, breathtaking and striking. Confidence and fatigue. Yeah. I feel a connection with the viewer, honestly. Strength, confidence, and determination and inner knowing. Yeah. So powerful. Calm and determined. How cool is that? You know what I'm thinking? I can send you a PDF of all the comments afterwards.
Oh, cool.
I think
Yeah.
you would really enjoy, Jennifer. Yeah, that'd be really, they're wonderful. Let me be clear, look in my eyes, says Jay Lyric. Okay, that's beautiful. And it's a beautiful piece. I mean, just like from a color standpoint, the pinks and the oranges and the purples and magentas. Oh, great. Okay, next one. Jane Addams. Tell us about this.
So Jane Addams was she was a socialite. She was a wealthy woman in Chicago. And instead of, I don't know, doing things the normal way, with just hoarding her wealth, she built this big institution, this building, as you see behind her. It's gigantic, and opened it up for the poor of the community to come in, receive food, shelter, education, and it was, in order to help them get jobs. So on the left side, I don't assume you're seeing the same way, they're going in and they're, in need of support.
Broken down.
Yeah, and on the right, they're coming out, they're standing up taller, they're more confident.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant device. How fantastic. Yeah, feel free, viewers, to type in what you see from this, what emotional response you get. Again, gorgeous colors, gorgeous rendering, the eyes, strong confidence, strength. Yeah, it's beautiful. The eyes, power, wisdom, strength, compassion, great care, confidence. Yeah, I did this, you can too. Empathy. Okay, next one. Yes,
Okay.
very cool. Cover of the Washington Post magazine.
My first editorial job with you, actually. And I was like, oh, I'm getting a cover for my first editorial job with Lilla. I hadn't earned this.
We don't mess around. We don't mess around.
No, I thought
an editorial job.
I thought I'd have to start small. Yeah. So they came to me, and the whole concept was hygge. As you probably see from the text, they were doing showing different restaurants and bars you could go to get that cozy, warm feeling. So this one was a fondue bar with a fireplace, and these are all things that were actually listed out. And so I decided to do a contrast, because you can do cozy, but cozy doesn't feel as cozy unless you show how cold it is outside. Yes. So I had the dog outside with his ears flapping in the wind, and the guy all bundled up to show just how stark the difference was inside. And then when it came out, there was a huge blizzard, so it worked out really well. I mean, I'm sorry, DC, but
wow. Well, yeah, and what you're talking about is a foil, contrast, opposites to strengthen. Each side is strengthened. The cold, which is blue light, very little color, it's dark, which is a foil for inside. The warm colors, the bright light, the smiling, she's laughing, they're engaging, she's leaning forward. It's about coming together. It's about having a conversation, whereas the person on the outside is alone, literally, with a cup of coffee, which to me is like, when you're just walking down the street with your cup of coffee, it's very sort of not lonely. What is it? But it's solo.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be lonely, but it's solo. And then inside is the opposite. And again, how you control the eye looking at the couple, and everything else is muted away. Fantastic. Don't forget to put your questions over in Q&A. Okay. So how did you come up with the concept? Someone's asking.
I
Leah.
did a few different concepts for them, and basically I think I did like a dozen, but then I narrowed it down to 3, just thumbnails, black and white thumbnails. And I said, here are my concepts, which would you like? And I was like, this one's my favorite, which is the one they went with. And they're like, yeah, I think so too. So
Yeah, good. And it is good to tell the client which one is your favorite, because
thumbnailing is key.
yeah, because they don't always, sometimes they all look good. It's equal. And if you tell them which one is your favorite, and of course, never show a rough that you don't love. You only show what you know you are going to crush it, because it's your brand, it's your portfolio. Okay, next page. I love this. This is incredible.
This is a piece of recent art.
Tell us about this.
Well, if you are in the ICB class, Illustrating Children's Books, then you know that this is a piece I did for the
first week.
Yeah. For the text, The Woman Behind the Bus, about Joanne Robinson, and it's super awesome. And I chose this because I am working on a book about Betty White and doing a lot of photo research for that, digging down into the same time period, because she started her career in the 50s and maybe even like 49 or something, but about the 50s. So I was just in the mode of doing photo research at that time and just learning. So like this was very symbiotic. So I decided to do that text too. And I wanted to do a scene. I hadn't done a scene in a while. So I did one for this just because in the class, this is the week where you study character. And so you don't have to do a scene. I just did one because I'm a jerk.
I want to read you a few comments. I love that wet payment effect. I loved that wet payment effect when I saw it on Instagram. It says Amber Ravenscroft. Martha Stolberger says, this one is so fabulous and cinematic again. Riley Wilkinson says, tell us about your historical research process. This is so of the time. And Riley is a creative director, so he understands about the importance of historical research.
A lot of it is Google image search, but I get a lot, especially historical stuff, from Getty, because they just have a photo library like no other, and you can search by the year and find like basically any relevant picture ever. And since I'm not actually using the picture, I don't have to pay for it. I can just get a bunch of references. And
and she never copies.
No,
never copy a photo. You get information, and then you do it your own way. You just take notes. So
you can't get away with copying at all. There was a scandal recently about some woman who was kind of tracing people, and she had made a really good career, and then people found out, and then it was cancel culture. You can't risk that. So don't do it.
Because it's the photographer's work, just like you wouldn't want an illustrator to copy your illustration or draw, even to trace or whatever. It's just best. And you all, you have creativity, everybody. You can come up with your own stuff, but you can get information. So, for example, the kind of lettering, the font of Frank's Hardware, maybe just to use that information, or how is a pavement reflective, and so forth.
Mhm.
So she was the woman of the Rosa Parks era
Mhm.
who did all kinds of great stuff. Okay, let's look at the next one. Tell us about this.
So
Fantastic.
in the previous scene, I had done a version of Joanne. I got the inspiration from watching your WebinART with Julia Christians, who is
Mhm.
amazing and super, like, has so much humor in her art. And I was inspired. So I was like, I want to bring more humor into my characters. I'm still at that point where I can render realistically, but I'm trying to pull back from that and find out like what my own,
Mhm.
I guess, my own style in expressing people, the idea of people and the idea of motion, rather than the actual, like, you know, specifically realistic faces. So I did a piece for the original. I did an original Joanne, and I was like, this is not enough. So I put the scene aside and I was like, I'm just going to draw. I'm just going to do expressions. And I knew that expressions were coming up for week 2. I wasn't even thinking this would be week 2. I just want to do it. And I felt like I had a breakthrough at this point.
Yeah, you did, for sure. I'm looking at the middle row, the one on the left and center. What's happening in the eyes is extraordinary. It's really pretty wonderful. They're just, one of the things that my co-teacher Zoe Tucker and I teach in the kid book class is that you don't, when you're doing the expressions for pitch, you don't label sad, happy. It needs to say, and you know, you don't have to know exactly the word, like the one on the upper right. Is she sad? Is she tormented? Is she distraught? It's okay. You don't have to know exactly, but you know, you feel emotion in your body when your eye goes around all these faces, and the range you do is so great, and how her hair kind of works with it too. Like the one in the middle, her hair's kind of popping.
Yep.
Okay, let's go on. I am nuts about these two, but the one on the bottom, yeah, global talent search. I saw that. I'm like, okay, you do something really special here. This is the one I was referring to, the wide angle
Oh, this piece killed
quality.
me.
Really?
Well,
Well,
it was the global talent search is so high pressure.
yeah,
And at that point, you know, it was me and 5 other people, all of whom were absolutely amazing.
yeah.
And
It's
I was just like,
sure.
it's only going to work if she takes us all. It's only going to work if she takes us all.
If what? Oh, and
If
did
you
I
took
take
her,
everyone that time?
you did. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh, that's right. Because I'm like, I hate this. I can't choose. I can't. Everyone is amazing. And I took, what was it, 6?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was our last one. Is like,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it's like when I do the reviews in class, like I know most everybody has worked really, really hard. And I don't want anybody sad. I'm a human being. I'm a mom. Like, I don't want anybody to be sad. But you can't review 500 images, and you can't take on everybody who enters the global talent search. But anyway, enough of the sob story about me. So this piece, first of all, I love your colors. And then I love the detail and information, the bike on the guy on the bike. And like, I want to be here. I want to be walking around these charming shops and see the people on the upper right balcony and go around that winding path and go into Mike's bikes and
I
see.
don't think it was intentional, but it's very San Francisco looking.
Yeah, it totally
I see
San
that now.
Francisco. Totally San Francisco. Where was I staying when I was in San Francisco filming the Creative
You
Bug
Creative,
course?
yeah, I'm not sure where you were staying.
The
I know
Bernal.
Creative Bug is local, so yeah, you might have been in Bernal, and I'm in Mission, so I say local.
Yeah,
Creative
was it?
Bug is
Yeah,
in Mission
I
where
think
I
it
am.
was Bernal Heights, which, boy, was way different than when I lived in San Francisco. Is way different now, but I love this. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So there you go, and the rest is history. And then this one you already had.
Yes.
I took you on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
After my first ICB class, I heard people talking about Bologna. I'm like, what's Bologna? I'm going to go to Bologna.
Mm.
So I did pieces for that. And this is actually my revision. My first ones were still very rough, still trying to figure out who I was. And I took them to Bologna, and I got feedback there from art directors.
What did they say?
Agents. Oh, they said, well,
they loved it.
Some of them were like, yeah, some of them were, I love it. Some of them were, you know, this is too unfinished. I sat down with some people, one woman in particular who said, you know, looked through my whole portfolio, and she said, okay, do this on this page, do this on here, and this on here, get rid of this. It was so specific, and I just wrote everything down. And so when I came back, like, I just did it, and it so much better. Like, I still had my lighting and everything, but it was just way more polished after getting that feedback.
And it's so rare to get specific feedback.
Yeah.
Because art directors, you know, that they can't always articulate what it needs. So I love it. Again, the colors are so beautiful, and the cinematic angle from pulled back and above, looking down, seeing the back of the kid on the right with the raccoon tail.
Red panda.
That's what?
Red panda.
Okay. And the lighting, look at the tree outside is casting a shadow. I mean, just technically, I'm like blown away to do that. So great. Did you take photo reference, or did you just sort of figure out how to make the tree shadow elongate?
No, I just guessed.
Wing, yeah. Well,
yeah, I've done enough that I can make it believable for the most part.
So great.
Just like, you know, nothing adds drama like direct light.
Yeah.
Long shadows.
Right. So great. Okay, next one. These were in your portfolio too, and
these are all part of the same. Yeah.
Yeah, blew my mind. I mean, I'm just like, you know, cinematic, beautifully rendered, the lighting, great long shadows, very 3D-ish. And you're, you know, you're a location scout, you're a stylist. It's like, look where she had, look at the zoo on the upper left, the gate, the beautiful gate that says zoo, and then on the bottom right, those buildings, those houses, they're beautiful. She didn't just do any old house or building. It's the roof, the architecture, the chimneys, the giraffe poking through
Paris.
the top. It's what?
It's very Paris.
Yeah.
Different colors, but
yeah, very
looked
Paris.
at a lot of pictures of Paris for this.
Gorgeous. Okay, next one. Again, you had, this was part of the series too?
No.
Was in your portfolio when before I took you on. Yeah. So this is, okay, so these were in her portfolio before I took her on, and you see the level of work. But why do I have to take such a strong, an artist with such a strong portfolio? Because that's how you get them work. So here you, I mean, just this room, the child, the coloring, and how you, so it's almost like the spotlight is on her and then the light fades away from her. Kathy Rupp asks, is this all done in Photoshop? How do you do your work?
This one actually was all done in Photoshop. There's a lot. I have a lot of different things all over this portfolio, but this particular one was all Photoshop.
Do you use Procreate on an iPad too?
Absolutely. I'm using Procreate almost exclusively these days. All the stuff I did for Claude is Procreate.
It's unbelievable. It's so many people are, it's changed everything. I mean, you can work like outside and on a car, in a car, not when you're driving, of course. Okay, social distancing in the mission. Beautiful.
So speaking of coronavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was me just, I guess, trying to work through some of my feelings about it, going through the neighborhood early on, this is maybe April, I think, maybe March or April, and seeing how my community was responding was very heartening. Seeing people do their visits from a balcony, seeing people lined up. Now the place in the back is actually, I mean, I took some liberties here, but that is a business on 19th Street between Mission and Valencia that was a restaurant, and in order to adapt became a general store. And so we would go there a lot and get flour and eggs and things that you couldn't get normally. And we loved having it. Absolutely. It's right around our house, and everybody was so nice. And not to break hearts, but I found out it's closing. Actually, I think it closed a few days ago because it just could not make it work. Even adapting so well could not make it work. Yeah.
Why do you think it couldn't work?
Well, they made a profit the first month when people couldn't get anything, but I think supply chains improved so people could get their stuff.
Oh, right. Those were restaurants that were still getting their deliveries from a different supply chain, so they could sell their supply. Yeah, we
got a lot of bulk items from them.
Oh, yeah. But now, yeah, you can get your food again. Beautiful.
But we still ordered from them every week, so it was really heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Next one. Tell us for the menagerie. Tell us about this.
Yep. I think this is not long before coronavirus, but this was definitely, I don't know, the world was rough. The world's been rough for a little while.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do something about spreading kindness, which is pretty obvious here. And even with this, I'm like, okay, it's metaphorical, but should I do balloons? Because balloons are bad for the environment. But I was just like, whatever, screw it. I'm just going to do it. I don't know. Let's just play. This is a personal piece.
So great. So great. Okay.
And it was animated. There was an animated GIF for it.
Oh. Okay. Dear Speak.
Another personal piece. Yeah. I made a bunch of watercolor brushes in Procreate. Yeah, so this is on Procreate. And
that's amazing. The digital watercolor.
Yeah. Digital watercolor is hard. I think it's hard to get it so that it actually looks like watercolor.
Did you do watercolor, traditional watercolor beforehand?
For this or in general?
In life?
In life, yes. I did a lot of watercolor actually before I started doing ICB. But I was drawing from life. I can paint from life pretty well in watercolor, but I'm never quite as satisfied when I do art for it, which bums me out because some of my favorite illustrators are watercolor artists.
Lynn Gaines, hi Lynn, says, you nailed the watercolor look, no worries. It's true. And the reason why I asked is because it looks like you know, when you've worked traditionally, you understand the medium and the look, you know what you're going for. So that's why it's so effective. Okay, we're going to move along because we also have the giveaway to do at the end. This is amazing, 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 amazing.
This is from the first Booktail week that I did with several people, most of which I met in Matt's class, actually. Yeah. And we just decided to do a challenge, and it kind of blew up. And these are 4 of the 7 pieces I did. That was a really tough week.
Have clients told you that they gave you work from this?
I think I might have seen actually I'm sure I saw the Little Red Riding Hood one come up in samples from clients before. That one specifically. Yeah. But the other it's just fun.
And so when you do personal work like this, you're going to get work like that. So that's pretty great. Okay, this one I'm crazy about. We use this a lot in promo.
Yeah, this was surprising because somebody was just like, oh, you should do something for Mermaid. And I was like, I don't want to do another challenge. I'll just do this. And I just like did it in one day. And then it kind of blew up. And I'm like, what happened?
It's amazing.
I think it's just the storytelling. I mean, the lighting is there too, but I think the storytelling is
the storytelling is so great. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully crafted. Okay. Next, Deck the Fox.
I have been trying to do like a custom holiday card for friends and family every year, and this is just one I did for 2018.
It's great.
And I like it, and this got me work too. Like this
Really?
helped. Yeah, this one helped me. This and the Little Red Riding Hood was cited for the Hong Kong job.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
And
and
this.
these as well. Yeah, these
Yeah.
are little stickers I made.
Yeah. And that's the style they wanted. And that's the style you did for the project. And here it is.
Here it is. Yep. Woo.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is like a once in a lifetime project.
Yeah.
Just to make. So they took your art and made these products, made these one of a kind 3D full size things from your work. Just amazing. Hong Kong. Beautiful. Okay. And here's more.
There were so many pictures of on Instagram of people with them, because you could go up and touch them and hug them and stuff. So, and some of them got pretty abused by the end of it, but it's really cute. And it was really rewarding to see like little kids taking pictures with
Wouldn't
my
it be great
characters.
if they could send one to you?
I don't know where I would put it. These things are gigantic.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, but I'm looking at like the reindeer on the bottom right. I could squeeze into a corner. Okay. Oh, and here we are at the end.
Yep.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Stop sharing is caring. Nope. Okay, so that was unbelievable. We are going to do the giveaway, and here's how the giveaway. You want to hold up? Oh, and hold up any products you want to show anybody.
Oh yeah, I guess I have. This is my first book that I did with Lilla, that I got really pretty much right after signing, which was exciting. I think I signed, went to the retreat. Oh, sorry, this is the US version and this is the UK version. And they're both really pretty and have foil stuff.
Fully illustrated inside.
Yeah, I went to my very first retreat, and on the way back, I think right after it, I had a job offer for this book, and I was like, yay, and it's animals.
And see, this is why we love being agents around here. It's like, and I've always been this way. I always, when I see somebody's talents and gifts and strengths, I'm always like, you know, it would be great. You could do this and that. And, you know, even before I was an agent, like, you should do this. You'd be so amazing. And so then now that I can do that and actually get people work, it's very, very satisfying. And that when I see art I love, and I'm like, I need to see that as a picture book. That needs to be a picture book, or that needs to be a home decor product. That needs, you know, it's like an illness. But anyway, let's talk about the giveaway. So this is what they're getting.
Yep. With all its.
Show them a few interiors.
Oh, let's see. What have you not seen?
An albino alligator.
Oh, I like this of Claude all lonely when he's little.
And he would have been not mated in the wild, right?
Right, exactly. So this book is wonderful. Emma did such an amazing job with the story. She she told a story that is true to life about Claude and his experience coming to the California Academy of Sciences, but also about being different. So it's a story. I actually spoke with some woman from the Chronicle, interviewed me and was telling me that she read it to her young, I think 2-year-old granddaughter, and was able to use it as an introduction to race and how people treat you different based on your skin color.
Oh.
And it's also about him finding his place and being. I can't show everything. I need to stop. About him finding his place and being appreciated for being unique.
Yeah, it's a great story. And a true story.
Yes.
Yeah, so great. Okay, so here's how this works, to win the Claude book. I'm going to say a category, and you can type in your answer in chat as often as you want, as many different answers and so forth. It might get challenging, so I have a few clues to give along the way. And then Kim in the background. Kim, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Kim is an agent here at the agency. She is oh, look, they're saying hi, Kim.
Hi, everyone.
Everybody loves Kim.
Everybody loves Kim. Is great.
Thank you.
Isn't that nice? She is great. So Kim will look and see the first answer that she sees. It might not be the first answer, but it's the first she sees. They usually go so quickly that she can't always see the exact first one. So it is what it is, and that's how it goes. Okay, capiche? Everybody got it?
Mm-hmm.
So the category is an illustrator, a famous illustrator. We'll just start with that. David Roberts, Oliver. Oh, look at this. Oh, I love this. I didn't think you all would. Oh, somebody got it.
I see it.
Oh, yeah.
Edward Gorey. Deborah
Yay,
Steyer.
Deborah.
Oh my God.
That was quick.
I like had all these clues.
I know Deborah. That's not surprising. Deborah, I met in ICB3, and she actually lives a block away from me. And I'm not surprised she got it.
Oh my God.
It was not rigged, I promise. But
oh my God. I was sure that I was like, well, I'll give the initials, black and white line. He's not alive. He's a man. It Joe's Flatbird. You gave me some of the clues, but okay.
Well done, Deborah. That's great.
That's so funny.
You can email me and I'll organize getting the gorgeous book out to you. My email address is kim@lillarogers.com. Thanks, everyone.
So fantastic. Wow. I loved that was a good one. That was Jennifer's idea to do an illustrator. I thought instead of, chartreuse, but.
Well, I had a ulterior motive because I wanted to see what people said for illustrators, because I was like, maybe there's some that I need to check out that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was being selfish.
Oliver Jeffers, Rebecca Green, Gary Kelly, Sendak, Dr. Seuss, Maxwell Parrish, Quentin Blake, Anita Kuntz, Graham Bass, Sendak, Beatrix Potter, Axel Scheffler, Lisa Congdon. Who
My grandmother told me I was related to Beatrix Potter. I think she's probably right because she did all the genealogy stuff, but I always want to put in the caveat that I don't actually know for sure. It's just
oh, wow.
And it's probably very distant.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. Well, I think that brings us to the end. That was absolutely wonderful. I learned so much, and I just looking at your work, Jennifer, is a real joy. And don't we all need that right now? So good, so good, such an uplift. Thank you for making beautiful art to lift all of us, to teach us about cinematic work and camera work and color and seeing your beautiful work. It was I feel like a new woman. Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for participating. We're so glad. We'll see you again September 17th with Marenta, who is a fascinating woman too. She'll be great to see on Thursday, September 17th at 12:30 Eastern. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And I love reading your comments on the chat over here, coming in with like sneaking a look. So thank you. And Jennifer, you have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.